There might be a little bit of some audio checking in the very beginning. Right now, I'm deafened in Discord, and we're going to be getting into it in a few seconds, but I'm just going to open this up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Update Required, Episode 2. I'll probably repeat this again once I undeafen myself. Today's topic will be, as we'll see in a second, cosplay and conventions. So I'm going to bring them on. I'm going to let them know that we're going to go. So, again, I might have to do some audio checking. So here we go. All right, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
I'm gonna do a quick audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Jesus Christ. Alright, it should be fun. Okay, let me open this up. Boom. Alright. As I said before, Def and Update Required, Episode 2. Today's topic is cosplay and conventions.
Oh boy.
We have OhioCon coming up, and our school is sending us out to potentially compete in, but probably most likely spectate the Overwatch semifinals to finals. So we are going, and what a better time to do this topic now than ever. So, I don't know if you guys want me to introduce you or we can introduce ourselves. It's up to you guys.
You do it.
I do it.
Oh, okay.
What? Okay, so
That's okay. Yeah.
so
Go.
last time, anyone who's dropping by sees that was here last time was Vince and Courtney. I don't think Andrew will be making it, but now we also have Chloe with all of our updated information on screen, as always. And as I consistently remain the same ethereal spirit that I am, I'm also the same person from last time, so that's fine. I don't know if you guys want to jump right into the questions, or I don't know.
I don't care. Whatever.
Fine with whatever.
Hopefully you guys are getting captured fine. How's the sound?
What?
You get. I need you guys to do the audio check for me, or else I'm gonna get looping audio.
Let's see.
As long as I'm the same audio as you guys, it should be good. I didn't touch anything on my settings, so.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think we should be good.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome, cool. All right. So, obviously, both me and Chloe have been to conventions, but Vince and Courtney, have you guys ever been to a convention before?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so this would be interesting, a good mix. I thought we were gonna have two more people in here. I don't know if Corin is coming or not.
Where's Corin?
She's probably passed out.
She did.
Dead.
Okay. So let's just get right into it, because the faster we get into things, the easier it's gonna be to kind of find the flow of things, seeing as I'm still relatively new to this. Okay. So conventions. So we'll start with conventions and get to cosplays as we go on. So conventions, with OhioCon coming up, I want to delve into the major areas of conventions and go over the thoughts and opinions that you guys have regarding these big attractions. To start off, namely with probably the key feature that I think a lot of people go to conventions for, are the voice actors, and they have a very large lineup of voice actors coming to OhioCon. A lot of them, and I say a lot of them as in the regard as if there are tons of voice actors, when in reality, in the voice acting profession, there's like the same 20 people who do all characters that we see. So I'm gonna open the first question to you guys, and I guess we can. I don't know. Are we all in the same order in Discord here, where it's me, then Courtney, then Vince and Chloe?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll just we'll ask questions like that. Then we'll go through answers.
Okay.
All right. So the first question, outside the usual, can you do this character voice? What would you say is the most frequently asked runner-up question? What do you think voice actors get asked the second most by fans?
I think they get. I've watched a lot of like panels and stuff. I think a very common question that they get asked is, what part of this character do you see in yourself? Depending on whatever character they're voicing.
Oh, that's wild. Imagine getting asked that question for like every single different character. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Can you imagine like being like a 45-year-old man? Someone asks like, "Where do you see yourself?" And it's like an 8-year-old girl in a TV show. Like, I'm human. I don't know. All right, Vince.
I guess maybe ask like, hey, of all the characters you voice, which one is your favorite?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I can see that as being the second most frequently asked question.
Yeah. I know this is actually a pretty commonly asked question, is how do you get along with the other voice actors that you work with? It's they ask a lot about how do you compare, like, especially for like characters like that are supposed to be a team. Like they ask, how does like your relationship with the other voice actors compare to like that of the character, kind of. It's a very interesting question. It's probably the second most asked, I think.
All right. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like there really is no second most asked. There's probably like 20 like all asked the same amount. But yeah, because we're gonna cover a few questions with voice actors, and I figured, you know, opening up one of the most asked questions with a very frequently asked question is, you know, where they get asked the most. But with big names coming to OhioCon for panels such as Jessica Cavello, Stephen Blum, and Jason Marsden, how much do you think these voice actors hope and appreciate fans who have heard and recognized their work in not so known roles and shows?
I know personally, because Jessica does voice Hanji for Attack on Titan, and I've watched a lot of panels that she's in. She gets like really, really excited when like she sees cosplayers or just fans that ask her questions about her character and such. I think they genuinely like really, really appreciate it, because it's like, yeah, they aren't technically like the original voice for the character. That would obviously go to whatever so and so Japanese voice actor is doing them, but I really think it like makes a huge part of the job for them and why they want to continue to do it.
It's actually kind of funny because I put in Jessica Cavello for the pure reason, looking at the lineup of voice actors for OhioCon, I saw that she plays a character from Attack on Titan and figured you get a kick out of that if I put it in there.
I want to meet her so bad.
I mean, that's like Stephen Blum, dude. I love Stephen Blum, and if I get a chance to go to that panel and meet him potentially, very excited for it. All right, Vince.
What was the question again?
It's fine. As this goes on, I'm hoping that kind of we can devolve into like kind of. I think this is like too structured for right now, but again, just gotta find the flow of it. Hopefully, we get to the point where we start cutting each other off. It'll be a great time. But the question restated, with a lot of these popular and famous voice actors, how much do you think they appreciate those people out there who take interest in their lesser known roles?
In their lesser known roles. I mean, I think they would definitely be very happy to have fans recognize them for those lesser known roles as well. I don't know. I don't have anything new to contribute to this.
I mean, do you think that being in the, like, especially being larger voice actors, do you think that there is a role that is unknown to fans, or that they've been in the industry for so long that hearing something like, "Oh, I loved you in this background character of this 90s movie," do you think they're like, "Oh yeah, I've people have talked to me about that before," or do you think it's just like, oh my god, like you also remember that? That's crazy.
I mean, I guess it just depends on the voice actor and depends on the media. I mean, I think it would be easy to forget that you were in a certain work if you've just been in so many over so many years. Especially if, like you said, it was a smaller, more unknown one.
Yeah, I think a really good example of that is Ricky Simmons, who's done Gurr from Invader Zim, who I'm surprised isn't going, question mark. I don't see him on the list, but he's typically there. Like everybody knows him because of his work for Invader Zim, being Gurr, and he's done a lot of other off roles, but like I feel like when people know anything besides Gurr, he probably gets pretty excited because he's probably so tired. He might not be tired of it, but he's probably so used to people knowing him for one role that like he just kind of waits to see if anybody knows him for anything else.
I can definitely see that. It must be pretty boring and pretty tiring to be known for one specific thing and then constantly being berated to relive and reenact that, especially with the resurgence of Invader Zim with the movie coming out. Everyone's like, oh, like he's probably great because he's like, oh, I'm bringing back this old character, but like, god damn, guys, let it go, and not to like relive it all. Or people probably just look at him and like, I have no idea who you are, like, with the voice that he does for Gurr, it's like with other people like Stephen Blum, for example, he has that voice, that grit, where is like you hear Gurr, if he just talks normal on a panel, you're like, who the fuck is this guy, So that's gotta be kind of annoying. Not only do you get asked for that one voice, but at the same time, that one voice is like so derived from your normal voice. Everyone's like, who? Like you hear him in something, it's like, oh, I was in this movie as the announcer. They're like, oh, it doesn't sound like you. So that's gotta suck. All right, if you guys were on a panel, whether it be for voice acting, art, a TV show, anything, so your number one hobby or interest, if you want, what is a question that you would become tired of hearing the most? Kind of like how I brought up, how you brought up with Gurr. What's a question that you'd be tired of hearing the most, and what is something in regards of Jessica would be your dream question, or something that you'd be very excited to hear and answer?
I don't know. I feel like, just for me personally, I get really, because obviously my thing, like I'd be in charge of some Attack on Titan panel or something. Because I love talking about it so much, I don't feel like anything would necessarily like be annoying, even though things do get repetitive. Like after watching so many panels, even like a viewer could get annoyed, but I don't see myself as getting annoyed being asked anything, whether it be this simple question like, oh, what's your favorite character, to something much more complex in terms of like asking me about plot or something. Because me as a person, I'd be way too excited and happy to even be able to talk about it in the first place, that it wouldn't bother me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, so I got you. Is that kind of like you're always excited to answer anything, so they kind of fall into one? It's like,
yeah,
you'll never be tired of answering questions about, as you said, Attack on Titan. That's just like that's always your dream question to anything about the subject.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty good. It keeps you from burning out.
Yes.
Vance.
Someone else go next. I'm still thinking.
All right, Chloe.
All right. You guys know me. I'd probably hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna cough. Okay. So obviously, I'd probably be running some sort of cosplay panel. I think the most annoying thing that would probably get to me is I guess like, I don't know. It would probably be something along the lines of, what's your favorite cosplay that you've done? Shut up, Sam. But yeah, probably like what's your favorite cosplay, because it's really hard to choose. And it's something that changes a lot. And it's typically like your most recent one. But I think it'd be like it's hard because like it'd probably be like your most asked question for a cosplayer is like, well, what's your favorite cosplay that you've done or made, or like what do you think is your best cosplay? Because that kind of like makes you think like, oh good god, like do I even have a favorite? Like what is my answer gonna be? But I guess like a better question that people not like could ask but should ask is like a more like intricate questions about cosplay, like how much effort did it take to make one of your favorite cosplays, or like one of your more intricate cosplays, I guess. It's like it's really odd because panels are like you get so many questions. Half the time they get repeated and like oh god. it's it's a lot. And I've been to like multiple cosplay like people who have their own like panels during the day or even just like Q&A sessions. Um the amount of questions that they get, I don't think I could ever do it.
So kind of taking your statement on that and how showing interest in the level of intricacy and hard work that goes into cosplaying. Let me ask you this question then, as maybe a filler for an interesting question not very much asked, at least not to my knowledge. How many cosplays have you tried and got close to finishing, but it just would not work out?
That's a really good question because there most cosplayers, when they make a cosplay, they buy all their resources at once and then like they sit down and make it. Very rarely have I seen cosplayers stop, but like a major thing is time constraint. If you've ever heard of Con Crunch before, it's literally where cosplayers wait till like a week or a day before and they're like, oh shit, I have to do my entire cosplay tonight or in this week. And I think it's not that they like couldn't do it or quit doing it because they lost interest, because once you put so much work, like you just kind of sit back and like, I can't stop. Like I put way too much time into this. It's definitely a time constraint thing, and I will tell you, there are numerous cosplays that I have not finished, like that are completely unfinished, but I'm like, I could either not wear this or I could just wear what I have and go with it. More often than not, I'll just wear it. But there have been like maybe 2 or 3 times where I've had something that I'm like, no, I can't finish this, and I'm not going to be happy with the result, and I'm going to waste my materials making a result that I don't like. So about 2 or 3 times is where like I put it down and I was like, I have enough. I can just go in something else.
So presentation is key, and this is kind of like presenting an artwork in front of a panel or in front of a gallery. If you had the materials and it was almost there and you go like, should I save this? Should I scrap it? Is it really worth saving? Do you think revealing that your cosplay is kind of like revealing your trap card in your hand, that showing the world it or potentially using it in a portfolio or Instagram, if it's not quite up to your expectations, it's not worth showing unless you can get to the 100%? Or do you just wear it and then try to refine it another day?
Personally for me, I've had numerous cosplays where I've worn to a con but won't post on Instagram because I'm not proud of it. And personally, I don't think I put enough effort into it. There are probably like a good handful of cosplays that I have that social media has never seen. And that's like a very big thing for cosplayers, is the social media aspect. Like they pay so much money. Like I personally haven't had a professional photographer that I've paid for because my phone is good enough and Shane is adapt enough. Like he's adapted enough to using a phone camera on pro mode that like he can take nice pictures of me. But like there are so many cosplays that I haven't shown because like they're either unfinished or like you can visibly see mistakes. And most of the time, honestly, I won't even scrap them for parts. I'll just put them away and I won't wear them again. I think that's a really big issue with me personally because I spend a lot of money on my materials. A lot less than some people, but still a lot. And it's a big money sink and a time sink. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't quite understand the grasp or the reality of how expensive the time put into it and just that level of commitment that a lot of people put into it. I think sometimes it's very apparent, but even to a basic lesser scale of even just sewing cloth together and using 3D prints and even cardboard or whatever it may be, just that time and that effort put in. But I'm going to spin this back to Vince, back to the question off of our little deep dive onto cosplay, which we at some point will get back to. But Vince, do you remember what the question is?
I mean, I was just like struggling to think of like what subject I would even be on a panel for.
Well, let's trace it back to what would you say some of your hobbies are?
Vince, wait, before you go on, consider like a panel doesn't have to be just about your interests. It can also be about your struggles. Think about your color blindness.
Let's just say, for example, just kind of give you a platform to work off of. Let's let you hit top 500 and now you're one of the best Sigma Overwatch players or off-tank players or just anything in general like that.
I mean, I do definitely feel like if I was on some sort of panel about color blindness questions, like I would get very tired of hearing people ask the same questions people always ask colorblind people. What kind of color blindness do you have? Does this mean that red and green look identical to you? What color do you think my shirt is? That kind of stuff.
All right. Well, especially because from the perspective and the standpoint of medical issues, as tiresome and repetitive as those questions get, I kind of feel like they serve a greater purpose being asked that you are on a higher platform to present not only the people asking questions, the viewers, the spectators, but anyone who is interested. At least in that regard, you could educate. Whereas, other things just kind of come down to the bias and the interest of those listening. This is a great way to broadcast out common misconceptions regarding your color blindness. So I feel like as repetitive as it is, at least it's still beneficial to an extent.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe I'm just kind of an impatient person, which I definitely can be at times. I definitely get impatient when it comes down to questions I've been asked far too many times. God, I did think of like something else that people would that I would get very tired of people asking me just in general, but I'm not sure how polite or politically correct it would be.
Is it about your ethnicity?
Yeah, I'd be tired of people basically trying to find a nice way of saying, "Hey, why doesn't your name match your face?"
It's because you have Vince instead of something reflecting your Korean heritage.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, my name is Vince, and not something ridiculous like Ki-hong Park or Jae-hong Ryu.
At least your name isn't Braxton with 3 X's. So, It could always be
Oh,
worse.
you know what? I've had people ask me at work, like they'll see my name tag that says Vince, and they'll be like, "Is Vince really your real name?" I'd say, "Well, technically it isn't. It's short for Vincent."
That's funny. Is there any questions that you would be asked that you'd be like, oh shit, whoa, you really want to know? Like, all right.
I would really be interested in people asking about my hobbies, my interests, because like I'd love it if, I mean, if it wasn't the primary subject matter, obviously, if they wanted to know about like my interest in certain video games or in Overwatch esports or in Roman history or what have you, like I would be really happy if a fan asked me just about my interest beyond whatever subject matter I was on a panel for, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see here. I'll get back to one of the questions I have listed here, but see, this was a great segue if you had gone before Chloe, which it's fine. It's 100% fine. We'll kick it back down to tune, as I said before. We'll get back into it with cosplaying. Given an unlimited budget, and I know this is one of the most a very frequently asked question, but it's always interesting to pick people's brains on the most basic things. Like knowing someone's favorite color could say a lot. Given an unlimited budget and no technical limits, what is your dream cosplay to perform?
Is this assuming that I could put it together flawlessly as well?
Yes, let's say it is exactly how you imagine it. Courtney, is there anything that you have that would be your, like, just embody the character?
I'm gonna need to think for a minute.
All right. I think if I ever did something like this, it would have to be something that to have like no limits to it. Man, I would have to have something like the guys, the dude who has the working Reinhardt suits, or like a Lucio thing that has the DJ stuff that could play. Like, if I had something cool like that, like the people who have like Master Chief helmets that go on, like go onto their face.
Yeah.
Wait, does this mean that if you were to pick Diva, you would get a functioning mecha?
Okay, well, to the limitations of they can't fly and shoot. It's some technical limits of like aesthetic and visuals rather than operating weaponized Korean mech suits.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sure Chloe already has this question preloaded, so we'll start from bottom up.
Yeah. I have two. One is probably X-1 Power Armor from Fallout. It's a really big dream cosplay for me. I want to do it fully loaded with smoke and everything, like, because they have like a device that emits like a water vapor type thing, and you hook it up to like an Arduino and all this shit. It's so cool. But definitely my second like would be an actual like diva with her mech cosplay, like, because somebody has already done it and it looks beautiful, and like she can walk around in it because it's on wheels, I guess, like motorized wheels or something, so she can sit in it. But it's beautiful.
Can you imagine like walking into a convention, or you spend so much time and money on the diva mecha aspect of it, and then as you climb out, you're just in like those onesies that everyone buys online.
Yeah.
It's like, oh really? That's it? It's like, are you not entertained by my fucking moving mecha? Like, are you serious?
Are you kidding? Yeah.
They go, does it fly? You're like, all right, buddy.
Does it fly?
All right, Vince, are you still thinking?
No, I think I know, although I think that even if I did have an unlimited budget and skill, I probably still wouldn't do it, but it would be really cool to imagine it. So, has anyone here ever played the Mega Man Battle Network series of games for the Game Boy Advance?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, premise of the games is basically imagine the Mega Man series, but instead of working with real life robots, it was like all on the internet, and all the robot masters were instead these avatars basically that had similar powers to their regular robot master counterpart. So anyway, let me pull up an image. So I would want to cosplay Mega Man.exe because I love the Mega Man Battle Network series of games. I think they're very underrated. I think that more people need to know about how great they are. And they've aged really well. Well, most of them have aged really well. And they're still really fun games, even though they're like 11 to 15 years old at this point. But I wouldn't actually want to cosplay him because that looks really, really impractical. Like, that looks like a one-piece suit. You already know how I feel about that from having done a Diva cosplay. I do not want to do that again. But it would be really cool to imagine myself actually doing that.
So, despite all the different style changes that he has, just because the one piece suit. What if it was not so much of a one piece suit, but instead kind of how the Flash in the CW show drops the tight spandex and picks up this leather based attire? What if that was like, if you can make the modification to the one piece suit or have it not be as revealing, would you still do it?
I mean, yeah, if there would be a way to just make it more practical for me, maybe. I don't know, like having done this, or like having not even having, God, I can't English right now. I'm sorry. Like being in the middle of making a Kabu cosplay is making me think, oh God, this might not be for me. Like in future times, I may not want to do another cosplay for a while. I'm glad I'm doing it now, but also, like, I'm really frugal, and I do not like sinking a lot of money into anything.
I think there's kind of an art in itself of as we see online low cost cosplays or
Yeah, low budget cosplays.
low budget cosplays. There's an art in itself where people have put they may not have the money, but to the extent of technical prowess and ability and dedication, they still achieve the same level as those who have money to put into it. Though you might not be able to have a 3D printer and print your own shoulder blades and armor and such, but creating it with cardboard, I think it kind of just comes down to limitations of creativity and how far are you willing to put time into it. So I don't know. You could probably do one that doesn't have to be spandex. You could always just wear a blue t-shirt and jeans, but you make the buster out of paint and cardboard. So even if there was that cost limit and that technical limit, I think it's definitely worth putting the time into. I don't think it necessarily requires money, especially if it's your first cosplay. I think at a certain point of dedication, do you start to put money in, kind of like everything else. All right, Corgi, you got something?
Okay. So I'm going to give two answers, one of which everyone probably will expect to come out of my mouth, and another I'm going to like kind of twist the question a bit. But obviously, in my own world, I would have like an amazing like Attack on Titan cosplay with straps and like ODM gear. People have made it before with like the actual like the things where like your swords are stored inside of, and they have like the gas canisters and everything, and it looks all fancy and stuff. But to twist the question a bit, to have it like, let's say it also comes with like ultimate confidence. Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda game, and I'd love to do like human Midna at the end of the game when she like reveals her like true self and everything gets fixed and everything. I'd love to do that, but considering the little clothing that she wears, it would take a lot of confidence for me to be able to do that.
Okay, I can understand that. I think I wasn't gonna bring up a point of like if you could like alter this and this. I feel like it kind of comes down a lot of times with cosplaying. It's just the idea of reflecting self-image, which is one of the reasons why when I was in high school I wanted to cosplay as Kamina from Gurren Lagann, and I didn't want to because he's shirtless, and I think everyone knows that I have kind of a dad bod, and that kind of goes. I think as cosplaying is becoming more and more viewed, it kind of becomes okay to. I'm not gonna say cut corners. It's okay to have your own personification of a character that you're trying to portray. There are people who do it to the detail where their body matches, their ethnicity matches, that everything is like completely correct. But I think if you were to wear like a sheet, like if you were to wear a full body skin suit and then paint on top of that her skin color and then wear the outfit, I think there again like limitation of prowess of technical ability. I think there's always that workaround, but I could definitely. It's actually a very interesting choice because I think a lot of people don't think of doing adult Midna, or I at least I haven't seen a lot of Midna cosplays, but that's actually a very interesting one. How tall is she in the game? Do you know?
I could look it up right now, but I saved Midna because I'm sure a lot of Zelda fans can agree. A lot of Link's like companion characters have a tendency to be annoying as fuck. So, Midna was always like my favorite just because she had a lot of attitude to her, and that's kind of like what I enjoyed a lot of Twilight Princess being. Is obviously I like the dark tone of it and everything, but Midna herself as a character was just amazing. And then seeing her at the end of the game and happy and like herself again, it was amazing. So.
It turns out that Midna is 5'3".
Well.
No, I mean you can still do it. I think the way they portray Midna in the games as adult Midna, seeing as she's like 4 something as her normal self or her smaller self, when she returns back to her normal self, they do pose it as she's like 7'8". So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be too bothered about the height difference. Like Hugh Jackman, for example, went to a con in his Wolverine costume, and people were like, "Well, nice cosplay, but you're too tall to be Wolverine."
Yeah, isn't Wolverine like 5'6" or something?
Yeah, Wolverine is not tall.
I feel like that's something we could talk about in terms of cosplay. Like the sticklers who are always like, "You're not the height of this character," or "You're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too skinny," and a specific big debate that has happened on Twitter that makes me really upset because it's wrong. You're not the right skin color.
Yeah, no, that definitely is a thing.
That's fucked up. Like, if you gatekeep cosplaying, you're immediately wrong. You can cosplay any character you want, any skin tone, anything. It doesn't matter. Like, cosplay is about having fun and interpreting a character. Like, don't let anybody take that away from you. It's an outlet of creativity, and it's just wrong that people try to gatekeep it constantly because it's not the image of the character they're used to seeing. And on the other side of that, this mainly goes for people trying to cosplay darker skin characters. Don't change your skin color. Do not change your skin color to be a different character because it's so wrong. And you can be the character you want to be without having to alter your fucking skin color. Like, it's very, very, very recent and common debate. And one of the cosplayers that I really look up to, she's a black cosplayer, and she goes to OhioCon a lot, and she receives so much backlash, but she's like such an amazing cosplayer, and it makes me so mad when people treat black cosplayers with such disrespect because they want to cosplay whoever they want to cosplay. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people kind of forget the idea that these if anything, a lot of times you could look at anyone and be like, oh, well, this character is, if it came from an anime and it's a white person, you'd be like, well, tell them they're Asian and you're not,
Yeah.
And the idea
Yeah.
of placing an ethnicity-based restriction on a character when sometimes I think people forget the idea that it's the outfit that makes a character, and more than that, a personality that makes the character. So yeah, creating this perfect image that people, if you're gonna comment on like skin color, then okay, well, their height isn't the exact same, or they're not the exact centimeters around their body. Like, nitpicking is completely useless. But I think a lot of people just, as you said, are ignorant and get this mental block of the perfect image in their head. Well, you're not this character. It's like, all right, well,
Yeah. It feels like a lot of people forget that cosplay is technically an art form, and it's just ridiculous that people think that it's okay, like Chloe said, to gatekeep at all. Because this is how people express like their creativity, because there's obviously like different ways to interpret a character, and then it's also somebody showing their love for a character or a series or something, and nitpicking and pushing them because they're not like the exact perfect person to represent them is wrong, because it's gonna like hurt them, it's gonna upset them, and it might make them never want to do it, which is really upsetting to me.
With that actually being said, we're going to segue into another question I have listed, and it's a little bit of not sort of say touchy, for lack of a better word. With what is the cutoff line regarding if a cosplay counts as an official cosplay or just an outfit decorated to match or honor or give homage to the theme of the subject? This being asked in the same connotation as what really counts as art when referring to the classical art world, seeing as they're both subjective fields. But with cosplay being more tangible and you can look at it objectively, as if someone were to say this is an official cosplay, but they're just wearing a Soldier 76 shirt and dyed their hair white, is it just kind of anything that pays homage to, or is it in honor of the genre or the universe they're cosplaying, or should there be at minimal a little bit of a requirement to match quote unquote cosplay official?
No. Coming from me, I've been cosplaying for almost 6 years now, and cosplay isn't really about honestly, like, it's not all about the presentation. It's more about the thought and the work that goes behind it. And if somebody throws on a shirt and pants and wears a diva wig and they say, I'm a casual diva cosplayer, that's still a cosplay. By my standards. Same thing with swimsuit cosplays at Colossal Con. You'll see girls and guys, just mostly girls dressed up in just a swimsuit, but they're wearing the wig of the character with the makeup and sometimes the props and stuff. And I think that's also still cosplay, because sometimes they put in a lot of effort into thinking through like what swimsuit they want to wear, like what do they want to bring? Like, for example, like I did a Princess Bubblegum swimsuit cosplay with my friend who was Marceline, and she also did swimsuit cosplay with me. And we went out and I found a pink swimsuit that kind of looked frilly like a dress. I put the body paint on. I made sure I got like a purple sash, because the middle of her dress is like, it's like a purple waist cincher. So I made sure to get something purple to kind of match that. One of her alternate outfits that you can see in the show, she has a sun hat, and I tried to make a sun hat. And then my counterpart, she wore a swimsuit, but she had like jean shorts on, and she had the flannel over top, like Marceline's flannel. And she had the fangs, she had the face paint, and she had everything. And I mean, like, just because like we were in a swimsuit, like, I think that still constitutes as a cosplay.
What people are saying, as you said, diva, if someone were to just put a t-shirt on, pants, and a wig, stating that they are casual diva, does to what ratio are the people who use the claim of cosplay with very low effort, not in a negative connotation, but just factually low effort. What's the ratio between those people and those who are stingy and feel that there should be a certain level of required effort to be put into it? Which one do you think does more harm for those who try to do cosplaying professionally or with high regards and can't think of the word, but with like reputable, like high reputation. To make it more clear, do you think it's the people who put in low effort and are like, oh no, it's a cosplay, I swear it is, I put this t-shirt on, this wig with like not much thought put in it, or is it worse for the people who are like, but you should have to put a little bit more into it for it to be more respectable?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Courtney.
Okay. There's a term that I'm sure Chloe probably knows it, but it's closet cosplay, and it's something that a lot of people do to start out. And I watch a lot of cosplay YouTubers. The mantra that I know from watching is that it's a lot more harmful to say that you have to put in like this level of effort. It's not worth it, because a lot of cosplayers I enjoy, you don't start out with all this skill. Like a lot of people go into it, they don't know how to sew, they do certain things. They don't know how to style wigs. I'm an example because I tried to style a wig and I fucked it up, but it's better to start out with at least something, like the example of like Diva, like just finding like the bodysuit online or just a t-shirt, or with Soldier, like go to GameStop and get the apron that's for like Dad 76 and wear it around and say that you're cosplaying, because it's a start.
I may have forgot to add to the question. I was, in my mind at least, I was visualizing in regards to being at a convention or like somewhere of notoriety, right? Like, because of course, if I put on some stuff that like the My Hero Academia, if I just threw together some dress pants and a shirt and tie, and do it at home, or I would say for the people who are advertising themselves as cosplayers, should they be, I guess that's a better way of putting the question. For people that refer themselves as cosplayers, should they be held to a certain level of commitment or effort, rather than
I still say
wearing the tag as cosplayer, hitting minimal marks of a character?
I still kind of say no, because okay, I said at the beginning that I haven't gone on, but I don't know how like Youngstown counts. I closet cosplayed Hanji there because I wanted to put forth some effort in like a minimum level, so I grabbed shit out of my closet before it went. And there's a lot of YouTubers that I know who have gone to cons just wearing stuff out of their closet and styling their hair a different way and trying to present as the character. They're putting all the effort that they can at that current moment, whether it be they don't have the funds right now, they didn't have the time, whatever it be. I don't think that there should be like a level that you have to pass to be able to label yourself as a cosplayer, because I think anybody even showing a little amount of interest in wanting to cosplay a certain character or something, regardless of it just being shit that they pulled out of their closet or family members' closets or whatever, and they wear it to a con, I think that still counts and is worthy of appreciation.
Yeah, I agree. That's like, it's like another example that I would say like people who try to gatekeep cosplayers use to like, I guess not deter people from cosplaying, but that's kind of what they do. Like a lot of people who do like closet cosplays, they're just kind of starting out, and they don't even need to be starting out to do it. Like you could be at any level of cosplay to do a closet cosplay or a casual cosplay. Cosplayers that go to conventions because they're cosplayers, a lot of the time when you see those people that are well-known cosplayers, that's their job. Like, cosplay is literally their job. So whatever they need to do to make themselves like known, what a lot of cosplayers do, what's in style, or what's the hippest meme going around that I can cosplay or do something for. Like, cosplay is a lot more than just like picking a character, making it well, and going out and showing it off. There's like a lot more to it. Like, you can do that, and that's still cosplay. That's perfectly fine. But another part of cosplay is the creativity aspect, and just by somebody thinking, "Oh, I can do this character casually," that is them thinking about doing something different. Like, it's I just think that it's a very common way of gatekeeping cosplay, because what else would you call it? Like, dressing up? Like, that's what cosplay is. That's all it is.
playing dress up.
Pretty much.
That's gotta be like the universal derogatory term for it. It's like, oh, you like gamers, like, oh, like you gamers, like blah blah, and it's like, oh, you guys playing dress up out there. It's like, no, it's cosplay. You don't understand. Like, calling any person who watches anime a weeaboo, like, oh, you weeaboo. It's like, all right, well, first of all, I'm an otaku. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Just to state, from now on in future episodes, that I take a neutral stance on a lot of the topics brought up. I just kind of just playing devil's advocate to get an idea of opinion from people who are on. But at least for me, I feel like in the past I've had a little bit of a grudge against certain titles of, like, when someone says it's a cosplay and it seems like it's not much. I think since then, especially having friends who have done cosplay, seeing a lot of friends prosper with it, and just seeing overall, I will say that my stance on it is that pretty much anything I think kind of attributes to it, except for, I guess, with many other subjects, those who use it to reap the benefits of it in a very greedy way.
Oh,
but
yeah.
other than that, I 100% support cosplaying to any degree of commitment or effort, seeing as, you know, like you guys said, if it really makes you happy enough and you really enjoy that character that it makes you want to cosplay, is that, you know, so be it. 100% go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, because, like, if it's not like your job, then there's only one person who needs to be happy about your cosplay, and, well, I guess this goes for any kind of art. If you're just a hobbyist, that's you. That's all. And, you know, I just wanted to throw this out there, you know, as someone who's really just dipping his toe into cosplay for the first time. I'm really happy that, you know, lots of people out there say, like, hey, any kind of cosplay is valid. Like, even if you're new, if you're inexperienced, no matter like what the level of detail, level of accuracy, whether you've changed a few things to make it more convenient, or because you didn't have the resources or whatever. Like, I think that's really nice, and I think that, you know, ideally everyone would be as welcoming as that, and there wouldn't be gatekeeping. Obviously, there's gatekeeping everywhere, and it sucks, but I'm really glad that lots of people out there, especially you guys, are really supportive.
Yep.
All right. Let's kind of shift focus now from cosplays to the attractions of OhioCon, and just some generalized questions. Kind of wrap this up. We're getting close to the time mark here. Wrote this earlier up with the voice actors, seeing as kind of all within the same bracket of people who are coming, who are special known people. But Kahari Hirokatsu, the former Studio Ghibli production coordinator, is coming to speak as one of the industry speakers. He has been in the industry for so long that he must be numb to the sense of fantasy and awe that Studio Ghibli has provided for so many years. What kind of medium do you guys think produces the mystical sense of fantasy for him and others who have worked in Studio Ghibli?
gonna say in advance, you can skip me for this question. I won't have a clue.
Like, and this can kind of be a broad range. So I don't. So Studio Ghibli, great movies. I've only ever seen one, but I've seen clips and art of the other ones, and I need to catch up on them. But for me, at least, for my sense of kind of what I see is that feeling given off by Studio Ghibli, can, for me at least, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to vocalize and articulate into a sense of tangible thoughts. But a snowy day, looking out a specific window at a specific angle, has given me that kind of fantasy that I feel many have gotten from Studio Ghibli, of just this fantasy world and being encapsulated in it. Do you like that? I guess that's essentially what I'm asking, is what do you think these people who over to Studio Ghibli maybe derive their inspiration from, but what do you think that they get that feeling that we get from the world?
Honestly, they take a lot of inspiration, and I mean like a lot, from like obviously like nature and stuff. And I think like just where they're from is so abundant with like that beauty. Like there's so much natural beauty in Japan that like it's hard to miss it. Like I feel like they get that magic from like looking, like exactly what you said, Donato. Like it's almost like inspiration from looking out their windows, like on the train rides, or like doing studies, because I know like a lot of them probably go out and like study nature, or like study like wildlife, because if you notice, a lot of their like movies are like wildlife oriented, or like, for example, in Nausicaa, like the whole like, I'm not going to spoil it, but that area that if you've seen it, you know, like that inspiration had to come from somewhere. Like the crazy amount of detail and stuff that they put into it, they had to feel something from somewhere else before they made that movie, because where would the inspiration come from to make a movie like that, you know?
Ooh, I actually really like that answer, that it has to be from somewhere in order to project that into it. Because I've asked chefs before, do you go home and do you cook like this? And they go, no, like fuck no, I'll get McDonald's on the way home. Like, does Gordon Ramsay eat his food and he's like, this is as good as the people who are eating it are tasting? Do the people like from Studio Ghibli, I wonder if they go out to nature and it's just like, oh yeah, I can emulate this, that's fine, and is it cold hearted and there's not much backed by it, or as Chloe said, they eat they have their morning coffee and the taste of those dark roasted beans are so good that they can take that euphoria and kind of channel it into subject that they've studied. I really do wonder if like they get that as they make it. They're like, oh man, this is it.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely something that's one of the reasons why in my life I want to be a studio animator. I've been, since I was a kid, always wanted to create animated movies. And that's one of the things that propels me, though I don't do it, to reach that goal, is that I want to create things that Studio Ghibli kind of brings to life, is bring that to life to help other people, kind of to put those words that makes it so hard to describe into visual context for other people to kind of relive too. But Courtney, do you think that these animators and these production managers, do you think that they get the magic from the movies that they make and that's what propels them, or do you think there's other stuff in their lives that kind of capture them?
I think it could be both, because Japan is a very, very beautiful place. That is one reason why I want to go there. So I think it's just living there and being there. They could see, like you said with like the coffee, like the simplest thing, and it can spark this sense of just like I don't know how like a better phrase, but like childish joy, because Ghibli movies are like most of the time really happy and like sweet, except for like few moments here and there, but that's kind of the point. So it just fuels their inspiration, and when they put it to their work, I know not all artists are always proud of what they do, but I feel like once they see the finished product and they see it and they go, hey, that came from my brain because I saw like a tree or like a sunset or just something random out in the world and they made that.
You know, I feel as if Studio Ghibli, you know, a Japanese animation company, right? Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
there's another word on the tip of my tongue. I'm having this happen a lot. I wonder if it could ever have been done anywhere else. Could Africa, could America, could the UK conjure up these like captivating, magical, almost, you know, intoxicating, euphoric movies? But seeing as the Japanese, it really is, when you see these people who are working 12 hours a day, they love it. They love what they do. They love the sights they see, the small things. I think really Studio Ghibli comes from the only country that could manifest this feeling of, like you said, childlike wonder, because of the way that they view around them. It's almost as if it's not what gives them that sense of awe, it's that everything gives them that sense of awe. And I guess that would be my answer. But Vince, what's your take on this question?
Just skip me. I don't have one.
Great.
I'm sorry. I'm just not familiar with Studio Ghibli at all, which I know is a crime. But
Okay, so let me ask you this. Chef Ramsay, you know Gordon Ramsay?
yes.
Do you think the food that he makes, let's say he's making all just like steaks and hot dogs, hamburgers, all meat items, do you think that the things that he eats taste good to him, or do you think he has his own, like, that he makes food that we think is delicious? Do you think to him it's not that great because he always makes it, and that he finds deliciousness in different delicacies such as like McDonald's or Subway?
I'm back. I missed whatever question was just asked.
Oh no, I'm rephrasing it to help Vince.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he still does enjoy some of what he makes, especially because, well, he knows what he likes best, so he can just tailor it to himself.
Fair enough. So you would still think that they can watch a movie produced by them and be like, oh man, yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yes, I definitely believe so.
It's so hard not to, dude. The music, I think the number one thing that makes it so enticing is just the way that they portray food. Like how could you not?
Yeah.
Food and
Although,
if I could have one skill, honestly, in the realm of art, whether it be sculpture, dance, cosplay, anything like that, I would 100% give all of my skill points to the drawing of landscapes. I think landscapes, nature in itself is just, I think, the peak of beauty in my own perspective, and just the way that they create these spreads of nature and, you know, vegetation, life, wildlife, and all that is just, I think that's probably the highest point of Studio Ghibli. Next comes music.
May all your bacon burn.
Great.
Hey, all your bacon burn.
on the flip side, though, I feel like they could also like watch their own work and notice all the flaws that lots of people don't notice, because, you know, with any kind of art, you're always the first one to notice a flaw.
Everyone's their
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like, I'm looking through like some of the pixel art that I've made, and it's like, oh god, why? I hate this.
I have no idea how they made any of those movies, having used their animation software Like, oh my god, it is so. At least to someone who isn't well versed in it, and originally I think it was translated by a bunch of fan users because originally OpenTunes is the name of the software. It's free online. They released it, I think, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Originally, it was all in all Japanese, and the program itself to operate on an amateur level is, I think it's like it's giving a toddler a tank rather than giving them a play car with like 2 options. It's this behemoth of an engine, and it's crazy.
But when you think about the fact that we went to the moon with technology that's less powerful than what we use for cell phones nowadays, I don't think it's that surprising.
That's they just slapped a few rockets on that bitch and just sent it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we just got lucky. We just got lucky and landed it, and it worked out. All right.
What's the Ghibli movie that you've seen, Jenna? You said you only saw one.
Spirited Away. I mean, who hasn't really?
Yeah.
I haven't.
You haven't seen it?
It's actually my most recent one that I've seen.
I saw it.
I've seen most of them.
I saw it. Actually, you know what? They did a. I don't know if Let me look this up real quick. They actually did a remake of it, and not a remastered. They remade it, and I don't know if it was by the same studio, same animation studio. I swear that when I was a kid, I watched it, and I think I watched it on DVD somewhere, and it was great. It was an awesome movie. You know, I followed along as well as like a 6-7-year-old could if that whenever it came out. And I remember them showing it on Cartoon Network, and it looked different, and there were certain scenes cut out, and I think they remade it, not remastered. But
most Ghibli movies are remade for the G Kids dubs, I think. Because there are like a few different dubs, and they cut out a lot of shit. I know this because of Kiki's Delivery Service. They fucked some shit up.
It almost seems though as if, like, I'm remembering it in my head. It was like completely redrawn, like a complete. It was a close to the art style, but like, and I swear that they did it and then kind of pulled it. And I think that like kind of cements it that it really is Studio Ghibli that creates this magic, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Kind of touching on the topic of OhioCon in particular, seeing as we're going soon. Just some of the attractions that I said that a few times now. How many? This is kind of a quick question. How many keyboards do you think rage gamers have broken at conventions in the open LAN section?
Oh god, I literally saw that happen. Well, not at OhioCon, but PAX East. Oh god, so many people will just go and like fuck up controllers and shit, and it's like, oh good god, are you okay?
Should like have a test. It's like, all right, can you play like this can you play like Dark Souls on the keyboard or this controller before you enter the LAN area and see like them like get like kind of pissed, like, it kind of sucks. Like I didn't need people to complain like, oh no, you're fine, go on in, and like, what the fuck? It's like, all right, I'm sorry, sir, but you have to complete. I want to be the Boshi to enter the LAN. All right, so. For Courtney events, you guys haven't been to conventions yet. For this convention coming up, what are you most excited for, and what are you just absolutely dreading in the experience of your first convention?
Okay, so I possibly more than Vince, I don't know. I've watched a lot of cosplayers go to cons and stuff. I have a lot of favorite cosplayers who I watch. I always watch their con vlogs. It's like they have so much fun. I'm mostly excited to just like spend time with like my friend group and like experience my first con and like understand what it's like, because it's a world I've always wanted to step into, but I've never had like people in my life who would want to go with me, because I really don't want to go to a alone, and now I get to, and I just want to experience it and know what it's like. to go to a convention for a weekend and screw around like an idiot with my friends. But the thing that I'm dreading, I am cosplaying for the first time, and I'm doing Glory on Friday, which doesn't really scare me at all because we're doing our Pokemon. But I don't know as much anymore. But when Attack on Titan was a big thing, I'm just gonna take a guess that everyone here has seen at least some of season 1. Maybe knows what I'm doing. But it's kind of like how My Hero Academia is now, how people act at cons and act towards other cosplayers just because they're the same series. I don't want touched or grabbed or pulled in any way, specifically by, I've heard horror stories from my own friends of like Levi cosplayers, just because of how they can act in the specific scene of episode 14 of Aaron getting the shit kicked out of him. Because I'm cosplaying Aaron and I don't want the shit kicked out of me, and I'm like scared. I don't know how people act. I've just heard like the horror stories. I'm probably being drastic, but that's my fear.
I don't know, some people are kind of drastic, but you just gotta stay with your group and then hope to God they stay away.
Please don't kick me. I don't want it.
I don't
I don't want it. Please.
Yeah, no, I've heard, for the most part, for cons I've gone to are relatively smaller. There isn't much of that acting up, and authoritative actions are taken seriously. Where my one friend was sexually harassed, and we went to the front desk and we're like, "Hey, this guy, like, we have a picture of him, and he sexually harassed our friend." Instantly taken care of. Very, very nice people. It was Too Many Games in PA by Philadelphia. Very, very nice people. They took very good action about it. They were very helpful. Although I heard from the friend who was harassed that things like Comic-Con and other larger conventions is where kind of they let things go. And she was like, I worked there and I was being grabbed left and right. And when reporting it, they just said, just don't get grabbed, or we can't help with that. I think with OhioCon, you'll be fine, especially if you have a group of people with you, because, you know, I will kick somebody's ass. I'll get thrown out. I'll get thrown out with them in a headlock. So it definitely must feel more comforting to know that you're not just by yourself.
Yeah, I think it also like just scares me a lot because I'm a really nice person, and I try not to I don't know. I try to be nice and friendly to everybody. So if I ended up in a situation like that, I feel like I wouldn't know what to do, and I'd just sit there like a deer in headlights, like,
Oh no, of course, no. There's no one I think is ready for that, especially just instantly having your space violated.
Invaded.
So, no, with certainty, I think Chloe can also reassure you that those things will be most likely avoided because we'll kick their ass.
Yeah.
Vince, what are you looking forward to the most with OhioCon coming up?
Well, I'm definitely super excited to have any excuse to hang out with my friends. I mean, I'd be down to go watch paint dry with you guys. That's how much I enjoy your company. Really excited to see all the cosplays. I am really excited to do my Kabu cosplay. The one thing I'm dreading the most is how loud it can possibly be, because I do not like loud noises.
It might be a little. It's actually not too bad, but there is a quiet room, so you should be okay.
Also, it's not like at least the ones I've gone to, they're put into sections where the musical performances are in a separate room, vendors are in the larger area. There's like, you know, the lane area. For the most part, the noise volume didn't really get much more than, like, from a scale of 1 to 10, like a 5. It's just you go to any large mall kind of crowd area, it was like that. To be honest, I thought a convention was going to be like not that I have social anxiety or anything, but I thought it was gonna be a lot more overwhelming, and I think that just kind of comes with larger conventions. It can be more overwhelming, but I have to see the size of OhioCon's attendance. But it kind of felt nice. It kind of felt like there was not really anyone around. Like I was in a friend group, and it felt like we had our own personalized like bubble moving along, and that it was a nice experience for all of us. Like everyone, you can definitely tell that everyone, especially because it's a convention, is preoccupied with something. So very rarely is the focus on you.
Oh yeah. Also, I'm scared of getting separated because this is a thing that has happened to me in a lot of different trips I've been on, particularly ones before I graduated high school, where I would get lost and separated. And I mean, fortunately, I did have a cell phone, but it definitely happens, especially when there's possibly going to be anime titties for me to get distracted by.
Yeah.
I have no shame, so I have no shame admitting that.
Yeah. As long as you stay close to people, you'll see them walking away. If they don't notice that you stop to gander. I can say this convention's pretty big. It's, I think, the second biggest one in Ohio. I don't know if Colossal Con's bigger or not, but attendance last year hit 10K, I think.
Wouldn't it be the biggest in Ohio if it's called OhioCon?
You wish.
Yeah, you would think.
But like, I've been to PAX East, and nothing can compare to PAX, where you're crammed in the vendors hall or the exhibit hall trying to get around. And if you don't like loud noises or people, don't go to anything like PAX, because you will be utterly swarmed around because there's no room. But OhioCon isn't bad. If you go into the vendors hall when it first opens, you'll be pretty crammed in there, but over the years they've done a lot of good things with expanding and putting it in a larger room. But I think that the convention center size is good because it's very spread out. So like from one side, there are 2 floors, and from one end to the other it's quite a walk. It's about like 4 or 5 minute walk to get to the other side of the hall. Like to get to the vendors hall from where we park, it'll take about a 2-minute walk on the inside, maybe 3 or 4. It's actually a pretty long walk, but
Oh shoot, I just remembered.
Yeah, what's up?
One more thing I'm dreading is possibly having to walk in the cold in my Kabu cosplay because I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cold, I think. I don't really know the weather, actually.
It might, yeah. I mean, Christmas was what, like 50, 60 degrees? It might warm up.
The only thing is, like, I'm wearing heels both days, and I'm going to be driving. I'm gonna pay the $12 to have my car underneath, or at least close. Because if you have anything that you buy, do you really want to carry it around all day? Like, no. Exactly.
I will say,
I might as well just bring my car.
If you guys want anything, I owe it to the universe. God knows I made my mom carry my jacket for all those years. I am Big Beef Boy, not the Beef Boy in chat, not Sammy. But I am Big Beef Boy, and I will carry whatever you guys want. You can load it up on me. I honestly don't care.
Okay, so we have a weather forecast. It's going to be 42.
It's actually not bad.
That's not bad.
Oh wait, that's in Canfield. I don't know how Columbus is, because it might be colder. Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, Columbus, negative 13 degrees.
Okay, so it's gonna be -3. No.
Oh my god! Wait, the way you said it actually convinced me.
No, it's gonna be like 50
degrees. So, no.
Kick him.
Oh.
Oh wait, Ruben. Oh no.
No.
Sorry,
Ruben, we're gonna be wrapping up soon, but do you want to join in on the podcast?
You know, I got a couple things. You know, I gotta skedaddle.
A few things.
Some of you're staying or no?
No.
That's fine.
I'm looking at rat popes right now.
Rat.
All right, new topic: rat
Rat
pope.
popes.
All right, so our rat
That's a
pope
rat
has now
should be
been instated. What is it? Hello.
You can do it.
My rat
Instated.
pope.
Instated.
Is that
Is that
the
a new word?
inducted?
New word?
The new rat pope has been inducted.
He has been inducted into office.
He's a
Um,
conductor? What is he conducting?
But what I was gonna say to you, Vince, was that luckily there are landmarks in these conventions, so we could be like, okay, if we get split up, meet at F3 or the
Billy
the
Bob.
Music. Yeah.
Or the food court,
Yes, Rat Pope Latin Cross. Okay, so Chloe, what was one thing that's happened, not personally to you, but an attraction or something at a con that you've attended that you were like, wait, this is not real. What the fuck?
Oh god.
What I was kind of putting it in the terms of like good, like a good thing, but you can do good or bad.
Okay. Oh, when I first went to PAX East, I didn't realize how big the exhibit hall was gonna be. When I walked in, I literally looked around. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was walking around because I didn't know what to fucking expect. It's my first PAX, and I look down and I see Blizzard. I'm like, Blizzard's here, and then I look to my left and I'm like, Facebook's here, and then Twitch is here, Alienware's here. Where the fuck am I? And I was like, all right, I gotta go here, here, and here. And then I look to my right and I'm like, Square Enix is here. I don't care about Final Fantasy, but I'll go and get some free shit.
Yeah, right.
And the biggest thing that was holy shit, they give you free shit all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh, they got money to
Dude.
spend.
Yeah, I got a free mouse mat. I got a free Alienware shirt. I have 2 Twitch TV bags. I have a fucking AMD shirt.
Damn.
I have so much shit. And it was such a surreal experience. If you can ever get out to a PAX, it's so cool. I was just amazed. I had so much fun.
I think my out of body moment, or the moment that I was like, what's really going on here, was I went to too many games, and in chat, Kit Carson, I met him in real life. He is one of the top runners for the game that I also speedrun, Jet Set Radio, and I met him in Philadelphia when we went to go too many games, and there I am standing in the crowd with someone that I never thought I'd meet in person because he's from Idaho. I'm staying there, and out on stage comes Epic Rap Battles of History. Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd walk out, and I'm like, what the fuck hello? And it was just that moment of surreal. This isn't happening. But it was a great time. And I really hope that Courtney and Vince kind of find that in this convention, especially with like we said, voice actors that we are so fond of coming. I have one more question right down here, but I think that's a good end note on that. OhioCon coming up, very interesting. Hopefully we can play in it. That'd be really cool. Although at the same time, it's if we don't have to worry about playing it, I think it's like a double-edged sword. We get to play in it, which is really awesome and a very unique experience. If we don't, we get more time to kind of just relax.
Yep.
So,
And I'm okay with that.
Hey, if we throw, that means that we don't have to worry about potentially missing the beginning of the Pokemon photo shoot.
There you go.
but yes,
Yeah.
very exciting thing coming up. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. So thank you thank you guys for answering questions and being in attendance, coming on. Thank you everyone in the chat who has talked. Thank you Beef Boy for the bits. Thank you Carson for stopping by. Thank you everyone who's chatted and interacted today. Thank Eggs in chat. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching Update Required episode 2. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Bye.